This is for the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the PopCulturists PlayStation podcast. Over 40 years of playing PlayStation and 5+ years in that Gamesrader combined. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to join us in future conversations, please head on over to our Facebook, our Discord, our Instagram. All the social links are in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturists, where you can watch us do all this shit live. It's a great way to sort of get involved with the chat, because we love looking at the chat and getting involved in the show. It's a damn good bit of fun. One thing we'd like you to do, if you'd be so kind, would be to share the conversation. Tell your friends, tell your families about this little PlayStation pod. Possibly even our other show, The Young and the Wrestlers, if for any reason you're into wrestling. We know it's a tough time right now, but if you did want to, you could support us financially at patreon.com/thepopculturists, as well as our merchandise store, popculturists.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other sort of shit with our logos on it. Now, Max, I received a fucking weird email from our merch store this week. So, we use a third-party website called TeePublic. They're based in the US just because they were easier at the time and they kind of didn't really give a shit about copyright infringement. So, I got an email this week. They're like, hey, we are about to release masks. So you could buy your own quarantine mask with your branding on it. That feels a little bit fucked. Unless you want...
I think everyone's making masks at this point.
True, but that, like, I feel a little dirty. Be like, hey, pandemic, you want to buy For the Players mask? It's a bit fucked up. It's a little bit fucked up.
Yeah.
How are you this week, Max?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a week.
It's been a week. That's normally not a positive sentence.
It's been a week. Well, as you know, my kid has started teething.
Yeah, man. Rough times.
And teething is rough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but there's been a few sleepless nights and lots of screaming.
Well, sleepless days for you because you work nights.
Lots of tears, yeah, it's a rough time.
Have you got a solution to make it easy on your little one?
So I still I've been told rum on the gums is still ridiculous, but we've got some Bonjela, obviously Panadol, all that stuff.
Bonjela's the shit, man. Bonjela saves lives.
We're refrigerating her dummies now.
Mm-hmm.
That way, when she goes to town on them, they're cold and soothing.
In the chat, buddy, in response to my mask, I fully expect you to have a mask by next week's show. Oh, look, I'll do what I can. But, you know, shipping, bit rough. I'll do it.
Yeah, there's no way anything's getting shipped from America to Australia in under a week.
By the time I get it, the pandemic will be gone. Hopefully. I'm pretty shameless, though. I might do it. No, I won't do it. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe. So I'm tossing up in my head.
What is SM33, buddy? I have no idea what that is.
So Buddy mentioned in the chat that SM33 is greater than Bonjela, so we're having teething discussions in the chat now.
Josh is yelling at us.
It is a PlayStation show. It isn't the teething, helping your child go through teething hour. But yeah. So apart from that, how have you been though?
That, you know, work's fine. Playing games, doing work, keeping myself busy.
That's good, man.
What about yourself?
Yeah, my week's been all right. So I've been pretty in demand at the workplace, which is nice. It only took a pandemic to make me feel valued in the workplace. No, I'm just kidding. I've been around a bunch of different sites this week, getting them all ready to go online. As everyone makes that transition to online programs. Other than that, Ryan Get Less Fat update. Paris is where. My Get Less Fat update, I'm currently at 11 kilos. I've lost about a kilo since last week, which is a kilo a week is a pretty good growth. I'm pretty happy about that. So I am currently at the, I remember being at this weight, so I'm at 128 now. And I remember being this weight, and I think I was this weight before I even moved to Geelong. So I'm back at my weight from 6 years ago. And then ideally, it'll just keep going down and down and down, is my plan. How are you going with the weight loss life?
Me, I'm still doing the shakes. I unfortunately still haven't gone out to get scales because I'm super slack.
Oh, don't you own scales?
No.
Oh, okay.
So I do need to get some because I would like to also weigh my child and myself. But I'm feeling a lot better. So.
Yeah, no, that's that. It's that one thing. So it's the feeling better is good.
Yeah.
But it's As I said, I'm pretty sure I mentioned last week. Like I break the sin, the big cardinal sin of weight loss is I weigh myself every day because I like seeing that drop. I like seeing that how the numbers fluctuate. Because it's important for me to have that control, I guess. But yeah, no, like it's still going down, still going good. Still gonna be, pretty for PAX. Still the plan right now. But Max, this is a PlayStation show, as Dash reminded us in the chat. What have you been playing on your PlayStation this week?
So I got back into Fortnite this week.
Oh, no way. Also, hey, Christian, in the chat, what's going on? I know Dash PAX ain't happening, but that is my goal point. That weekend is my goal point.
Dream, Dash. Don't
me ruin this girl's dreams, all right?
So yeah, I jumped back into Fortnite this week. Since they've decided to extend their battle pass for this season, I decided that I'll jump in now at the end so I can just smash out all the challenges really quickly. Got my Deadpool skin, did all that stuff.
Gross.
I also got beta access to Spellbreak.
Ooh, what's Spellbreak?
So it's another battle royale game, but you're a wizard, so you fly around and you shoot spells at people. Quite fun. Unfortunately, no one's playing in Oceania, so I have to play in North American servers, and the lag is anus. But that was quite fun. Other than that, not much.
Yeah. So I myself have been playing primarily Strange Brigade. It's because it's a really good game to just mindlessly play, because it is essentially the way I was explained to me, that I explained it this morning, was I guess on another pod before doing this one, I talked about it was like Uncharted if it wasn't as good, but also had the zombie mode of Call of Duty in it. So it is very wave based, but it's also like treasure hunting and temple running and that sort of stuff. So it's very cool. So I'm now 3-ish levels deep. So I have not played a lot this week, but even then, I do the run through once, and then I grab what collectibles I can, because there's a lot of collectibles and a lot of puzzles in the game, which is great. So I do the first run, and then I turn back around, and then I start it again, and then do the slow sweep through to get all the collectibles.
Yep.
So that's where it takes a little bit longer, because I'll be in an area scoping it out and trying to find this tiny little jar thing or whatever, which is good.
And despite it not being a PlayStation game, I've played a lot of Mario Maker this week because
the new update, yeah.
The new final update dropped, so it's got heaps of new stuff, which is good fun.
Speaking of games that have dropped, yesterday at time of recording, Predator Hunting Grounds, a PlayStation a console exclusive, did drop. PlayStation Australia did provide us the code, and that's how we've been. I fucking tried to check it out, all right? I booted the game up this morning, and then my PS4 somehow levitated out of the room because for some reason it fucking runs my PS4 so hard.
Well, that's interesting. So I played a game last night, and my PlayStation didn't go crazy.
Yeah. It's like, whoa.
See, I think yours is just loud because it's got a gigantic hole in the top.
But it's not. It's sealed. So there's that open part, and there's actually a bit of perspex over it. So there's no fan noise or anything comes out of it. It's just taking off under my desk. There's video on Twitter if those are interested. And so I got up this morning, booted it up, to give it a red hot go, because I didn't play it yesterday. I didn't play any games yesterday. I just kind of went to bed. So I was like, all right, cool. SmackDown's about to start. I'll put SmackDown on. I'll put this on. Cool. So about half an hour till SmackDown. And then next thing you know, SmackDown started, and I still hadn't gotten a game.
So what were you queuing for? Because you get 3 options.
Yes,
in the
there's
quick
3
play
options. There's the
settings.
Predator, there is the fire team,
team.
and then no preference. I went straight to no preference. I'm like, I just want to play the game. So give me whatever.
So obviously, last night when I first tried it out, I wanted to be the Predator. Like that's what's drawing me to the game. I want to be the Predator. So I queued as Predator. After 20 minutes, it put me in a lobby by myself as the Predator. I left it on for another half an hour. No one joined my game. I'm like, okay, this is a bad sign. I back out to the main menu, go to no preference, and 20 minutes later, I get a game, and it gives me the Predator. I'm like, yes, this is it. This is my time to shine. And I played 1 game, and I won.
Yeah.
Didn't know what I was doing, but yeah.
So I ran the tutorial instead this morning, and so like the tutorial focuses solely around the Predator. There's no you do not play as the fire team in the tutorial at all. It's as almost if the motivation is the Predator, and if you happen to become one of the fire team, well, too fucking bad because you should have been a Predator.
Did your eyes melt when you put on the heat vision mode?
Yeah, it really hurt. And like the game itself, the concept is cool, obviously, like in terms of that whole asymmetrical multiplayer, which is, they tried to do with like Evolve and stuff back in the day, but no one gave a fuck about those monsters because they were brand new. And like this is where the benefit here, similar to Friday the 13th, is it's using, which is developed by the same team, it's using a property that people can recognize. People know what Predator is. Like if you've seen the movies, you know how Predator is like it's that idea. It's a hunter, right? It's a predator. Like it takes out a group of people. So I understand why that would work in terms of a design, but I feel like the execution here is not very good. And even not even getting into the game, because like when I did play the tutorial, there are some cool mechanics in there, like the Predcore, lame name, is essentially the parkour of the Predator. So it's where you climb up into the trees and you can almost traverse the entire map solely by the trees, which is pretty cool. And if you're playing as a fire team, if you just see that like above your head, like that would be pretty gnarly in the game, right? If that was to happen. But hey, I don't know, I played it, so I have no idea in terms of the actual game itself.
Well, I had a real issue because some of the leaves on the trees will block your Predator rockets. But the fire teams can shoot through them and hit you.
Yep.
So it's very frustrating.
So in the chat, Buddy Watson goes, this game is DOA and the beta sucked. So I didn't check out the beta, you did.
I played the beta. I only got into like 2-3 games and I played as the fire team each time.
Yeah. So how you find the match, I feel bad using impressions on such a small sample size, whether it be me playing the tutorial or you not only playing one of the Predator.
Matches are very quick, and despite the fact that it is a 4-on-1 scenario, the Predator is still quite overpowered.
Which is to be expected, right?
And obviously you get stronger as you level up because you can upgrade your weapons and whatnot. So you have different loadouts based on what your level is. So like, at level 50 you get the bow, or you get that weird electric death stick that they have. So obviously the more you play as the Predator, the better you become to begin with. And it seems very overpowered.
Yeah, so the thing that like caught my eye the first time I put this game up is it's like, hey, here's 2 loot boxes. So they, on top of that, for a game that I can't even play right now, they've also got a bunch of loot boxes and shit too. That's concerning. Look, granted, multiplayer games like this will have that, but this is a $60 a game, so it's a 60 Australian dollars, so it's kind of like a mid-tier price. So I guess the microtransactions aren't as gnarly, and
well, see, from what I saw, one of the loot boxes is purchased with in-game currency, not with like a premium currency. So you get that stuff when you level up and play.
Correct. However, it presents itself in the exact same way like Overwatch does, where it opens and there's 3 colored platforms with the varying skins. But once again, it's a multiplayer game. It's mid price. So like, okay, I'm less angry about it, but it's more of it's disheartening that that's in there, and I still can't even get into the game.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, I'll still give it a try. I'll do my very best to at least get a game in by next week. I'll just leave my console on and see what happens. Oh! In the chat, Buddy Watson, would you describe the loot boxes as predatory? Fucking well done. I wish I thought of that, but I didn't.
I mean, they're not really, though.
No, they're not. No,
They're not super.
They're pretty cosmetic. Like, they don't seem that gnarly. But yeah. Hopefully we can talk more about it next week. Yeah, so Dash was going to give Buddy the band hammer in the chat there for that joke. No, I won't allow the ban. I'll allow the joke. I'll allow it. Yeah, look, we'll give it a go. We'll do our very best to cover it more. The difficulty was getting it on launch day. Makes it a little bit tougher as well, but by the sounds of it, by the looks of it, everyone got it launch day. So that's also not a super positive sign, and maybe a reason why I've not seen many reviews out there, because it's, even if I did, I couldn't get a game. I can't get a game when it's public. I wouldn't have got a game during press time. I can guarantee you that. Oh, and yeah, Reverend PopC, he came in the chat earlier, which is great. Max, that's enough about what we've been up to. Let's get into the section we call Inform the Players. We tell you all about what happened this week in the PlayStations.
Well, let's kick things off with the Bandicoots coming back.
Oh.
So Crash Bandicoot's return to the mainstream has reached another major milestone in the form of a smartphone autorunner developed by Candy Crush creators King. This has clearly been inspired by the likes of Temple Run, although given the nature of the marsupials' main games, it actually makes sense. The plot sees the eponymous hero paired with longtime ally Coco to take on Dr. Neo Cortex's mutagen henchman, and there's a base building element that will see you creating weapons and power-ups to assist you on your adventure. It's got all the trappings of a typical mobile game: timers, microtransactions, multiple currencies. The release is only soft launched at this stage, so there's no word on how aggressive the in-app transactions will actually be at launch. So far, you can find it on the Malaysian Google Play Store.
Meh. Oh, hang on. Yeah. Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, mobile games are notoriously bad for their... you can play for 10 minutes, and if you want to play for longer than 10 minutes, you got to give us the money.
But not even that. Like, is the audience for Crash Bandicoot phone game?
I don't know. I would imagine it's just like, you know all those levels where you run backwards towards the screen and there's like a panda chasing you or a snowball. I'd imagine it's just one of those levels.
I presume so, right? Because like when you think of Free Runner, my brain went to, like Temple Run or even Mario Run, right?
Yeah.
Which
anything with the word run in it.
Yeah, which Mario Run got panned pretty hard. A, for its cost, and 2, that there's a bunch of micros in it. I have no desire to even look at this.
No, I'm the same.
Yeah, it's but people think, speaking of fucking things that are hard to look at, this came out this week. WWE 2K21 is fucking not happening. As this comes from Liam Croft over at Push Square. Following rumors that 2K would not be putting out a WWE game later this year, the World Wrestling Entertainment Federation has confirmed that this is indeed the case. WWE 2K21 will not be a thing, making 2020 the first year to not play host to an official wrestling game based on the brand since 1998. 2K20 was an unmitigated disaster for developer visual concepts, plagued by bugs and glitches, which gained a considerable amount of notoriety on social media. And as the game blew up through tweets poking fun at it, thousands upon thousands shared it a number of times. The situation only grew worse despite the handful of patches to try to sort the experience out. It must be assumed that the backlash did play a big part, and a large part being the big decision around 2K21 not getting done. So this did get announced in the Q1 finance call thing with all the stockholders, stakeholders, etc. for WWE, where Vince McMahon announced that the game wasn't coming. Understandable, seeing as the last year was so hot shit, just absolute hot trash, was that shit house. I do think they may have been like taking advantage, similar to masks. They're taking advantage of the pandemic, because they could also be like, well, we didn't have time to get it done. Pandemic,
they're
working
like,
from home.
You saw You saw what came out of our studio last year. You think it's going to be better when we're working from home?
So I do appreciate that they take the candidate, and ideally they're going to fix it. But I also don't think that may be the case. However, WWE Games on Twitter, as well as 2K in the US, did mention that as per... Let me find out. There is a day, I think it's Tuesday for us. Let me have a quick check. Sorry, everyone. I just thought about this as it went down. We'll be sharing details on the future of the WWE 2K franchise, as well as some exciting news on Monday, which would be Monday the 27th in the US at 7 a.m. Pacific. So that would be
Tuesday
morning-ish for us. Presumably they're going to be like, yeah, it's not coming. Because as of right now, there's been no official statement from 2K that it's not coming. This has only come from that earnings call. So they'll probably announce that 2K21 isn't coming. However, they've got some other news, and fucked for know what that other news is. I couldn't even imagine. They're like, here's something else. You know, like they're not gonna be able to replace it with something else in a short period of time.
It's gonna be a mobile game.
It's a runner. It's a WWE runner, which will be exciting. Buddy adds in the chat, they didn't really have a choice. Keep releasing and destroy their brand, or take a year off and try and salvage it. And I agree. Like, that's 100% the thing here. And this is what they should have done last year. Because the disappointing thing is, it's like the first time in the 2K run that they've had a woman on the poster with Becky, and the whole idea of the women's evolution being the main story. They did not give the justice needed for that current situation. I mean, that story, the whole idea of the women's revolution is awesome. And it was handled poorly by a shithole game. So I hope they do something with the, cause when I first heard about Visual Concepts taking it over, and what we saw the game to be, I presumed the Visual Concepts were just some bull studio, right? No, it turns out they work on like NBA 2K and stuff. So like these guys have some sort of pedigree, but they were just given the short end of the deal. So like they had the potential to do good, but the greediness of WWE sort of forced them to push the game out actually worked to its detriment here.
Yeah. So you gotta wonder whether the team even wanted to release the product that they had.
I guarantee you that.
Or if they had advised against it, and then WWE is like, no, it's got to come out.
Well, my understanding was that was the conversation. It was like, it has to be annual.
Yeah. So, rumor has it, Ryan, that Watch Dogs Legion could be a launch title. This comes from Robert Ramsey at Push Square, which is great news for me because it's on my fantasy draft this year. So hopefully the consoles don't get pushed this year and it does come out. So Watch Dogs Legion was originally scheduled to release on the 6th of March 2020. Kind of weird to think about it. Ubisoft delayed Legion and a number of other titles that it still has in the works, including Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine. At the time, Ubisoft didn't give new release dates for any of these games. It simply said they would launch beyond April 2020. Now here we are, staring May in the face, and we're yet to hear much more. However, VGC reports that Legion is currently planned as a PlayStation 5 launch title. It's set to debut alongside next-gen consoles, suggesting that there won't be a current-gen version releasing before then. If true, it's unsurprising development, but it has interesting implications. For starters, it would probably mean that the next Assassin's Creed title, which we think is coming, won't be on PS5 at launch. Reason being that Ubisoft won't want to release two of its heavy hitters on the same day. The same is true for something like the aforementioned Gods and Monsters. It's worth noting that Watch Dogs Legion has been confirmed as a cross-gen title for a while, as far back as E3 2019. Developers have been calling Legion a game made for PlayStation platforms. Then in October last year, Ubisoft said Legion would utilize the PS5's features in, quote, extremely interesting ways.
It's a good call. Like having it come out alongside the new console. We've discussed this before. I think we did this about Assassin's Creed last week. It would be incredibly advantageous of them to release it alongside the new console, because people buy launch games. Period.
Yeah.
Like, it could be a bumhole game and people will still spend the dollars on it. And I think it would be a smart decision to have Legion in there. Allows them probably put a little bit more time on Assassin's Creed Ragnarok, whatever the hell it's going to be called. What do you think? Would you prefer an Assassin's Creed or would you prefer Watch Dogs?
From all the news that we've seen, I think a Watch Dogs is probably further along than that of an Assassin's Creed, considering they've been talking about Legion for a while now. We've seen gameplay, whereas an Assassin's Creed where we still don't know what it's called. We haven't really... Nothing's been nailed down. So I think in terms of, is it going to be Legion or Assassin's Creed? I think it's going to be Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah, I agree.
And I completely agree with you in the statements we made last week of people buy games that come out at launch because they want to use their new consoles to play new things.
Yeah. Yeah, so you are 100% spot on because in terms of even the announcement right now, like Watch Dogs 3 has already been announced. It's super easy to lead that into the next generation. To be like, hey, you guys know what this is, and now you're getting it on your next gen console. Thumbs up. Like that. Like it is actually a good way to go about it, and I think they could really they could even resell it that way, like a game that was too big for last generation's consoles.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, from what they were saying, that despite I think they refer to them as non-playable or like NPCs that are all playable.
It's like all playable characters. Yeah.
They're all playable characters. That's a pretty big scope to pull off.
It's huge.
So hopefully they take advantage of the new console's power and they can, we can be kicking ass as grandma soon.
Yeah, with my team of nanas, we're going to take down whatever the big business,
the big corporation.
Big corporation. That's what I want to. Thank you. But on top of that, Ubisoft are ready to delay more titles through to the next gen. This one also comes from Push Square. They say that we're living in a very uncertain time right now, and although Sony has repeatedly said that the PlayStation 5 is still launching in holiday 2020, there's always a chance the plans will have to be reworked. Unsurprisingly, publishers are well aware of this. Speaking to the New York Times, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot gives us some insight into how the company is prepared for such an outcome. Guillemot says that its schedule hasn't been significantly impacted by the ongoing coronavirus situation, or the Voldemort virus, as I probably should have called it, despite the fact that Ubisoft development teams are now working remotely. Both Sony and Microsoft have allowed developers to continue using next-gen dev kits, which is obviously a huge help. But if the worst does happen and the PS5 and Xbox Series X are delayed, Ubisoft is prepared. Gilmore, I can't really do the French words, comments, quote, "We are not seeing significant impact to our timelines, but we are in touch with all of our partners, and if there's a need to adjust in order to do what's best for them and for our players, we will do so." This suggests the publisher is ready to delay its upcoming games if necessary. After all, everything has to be working in sync for a successful console launch. So it's interesting that they're open to the idea of delaying their games even further when they currently are already in a indefinite delay.
Well, I mean, if they're designing them to come out on the next gen of consoles, there's no point releasing them early on this current gen. Or I mean, there is to a degree, but people want it. People are going to want it on the next gen. So to delay them till when the consoles comes out kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and it is one of those things. Like they could prepare themselves to release a game every quarter for the first year of the next generation console life cycle. So right now, like we would have seen Gods and Monsters, that Skull and Bones, Watch Dogs Legion, and then presumably Assassin's Creed at the end of the year. They have a full first year slate ready to go for the PS5 if they want to do that. And I don't see them releasing it anytime, like any of these games anytime soon, because they said anytime after April. May is apparently the time frame that we're going to be hearing a lot of things from a lot of places.
Yeah.
So maybe there are some announcements around the corner with no E3. Even then, like the minimum that you are going to get from a release would be about 3 months. at your hardest, right? Three to 5 months is the shortest amount of marketing time that you can get away with. So we're not going to, unless they're doing some surprise release in October and they announce something in May or June even. But then there's like June with E3, obviously, but there is no E3 now. The whole delivery method is different, and with the current circumstances around the Voldemort virus, like if they were to announce something next month, they can't even ensure that it'll make the date at the end of the year. It's not possible.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you brought up E3. So, Gamesrader is going to be hosting an E3 style broadcast. This comes from Stephen Talby at Push Square. So, Future Publishing, the company behind the popular gaming website Gamesrader, is putting together a live showcase called The Future Games Show. The broadcast will go out live during what would have been E3 week in June. It's been described as, quote, an hour-long broadcast containing exclusive trailers, announcements, and deep dives on existing AAA and indie games, focusing on current and next-gen consoles, mobile, and streaming platforms, end quote. It sounds like there's going to be a real mix of content, ranging from PS4 titles to a look at upcoming PS5 games. Sorry, my light's flickering like crazy. The show will be accompanied by...
It's the ghost of E3's past! Whoa!
The show will be ranging from, PlayStation 4 titles to look at some...
Is that a common occurrence? That doesn't seem good.
No, I think the light's about to blow.
I'm just going to watch the light. You keep talking.
The show will be accompanied by written pieces over on the Gamesradar site. That's about all we have to go on for now, but it certainly sounds interesting. Whether Future can pull together the sort of announcements that are going to make this worth a watch remains to be seen. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to flick the light on and off and see if that listens.
And see what happens. All right, so I see to see what Reverend's put in the chat here. Makes the aliens meme hands. It's aliens. The light's fucked. Did it just go up? All right, well, cool. Hopefully no one has photosensitive epilepsy right now, because that's what all we're going to get from Max's camera. But it's interesting that someone... Zill has confirmed that it's aliens and that you may in fact get probed back. So
I might have to get up there and fix it.
Just do it midstream. There's just you getting up on a ladder. Seems very safe.
I'm just going to stand on a chair.
That's horrifying. We could see you get viciously injured on
at least
stream.
there'll be people to call the ambulance.
That's true. Like we could right the opposite of swatting. Like we're here to help you. We'll all call ambulances. This is interesting. So there's a bunch of different places that are apparently going to be helping during this E3 week, but has anything, like, aside from this, and then the Kind of Funny said they're going to do something, then there was mention of IGN doing something as well. Like, it's this weird window of time right now where, like, everyone's getting in, but is that going to then dilute the message further? It's a weird time.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's still good. It's a good time to be doing something like that, because obviously everyone will be expecting their E3 announcements. So the more information, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Now, do you have a replacement light globe?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to run into I'll quickly add some thoughts to this, and then I'll get into the next bit of news. So that
all right, you do that. I'll be back.
You'll be back. All right.
I'll be back.
Hi everyone, it's just me now. But let us know in the chat what you think about E3, because it is interesting time right now with everything sort of up in the air, and even then the reluctance of people to have something to say, I guess, because it's, unless they already had some pre-made trailers or some sort of pre-made content ready to go for E3, you would have to go into that with that. Like, no one's going to really make new trailers right now when they're already very short, I wouldn't say short-staffed, but their resources are even less than usual. You know what I mean? Buddy does ask the question, how many podcasts does it take to change a light bulb? My answer, hopefully, is 1. But it looks very ominous. Looks like I'm doing this podcast by myself, which is actually quite depressing. But while he's not here, let's get into this bit of news that, that catches my attention. Farmer's Life, named we get this one. This one come from Push Square as well. Previously only available on the Nintendo Switch and the PC, Bandai Namco have announced that Doraemon Story of Seasons will be coming to PlayStation 4. It is a Harvest Moon-esque game featuring characters from the Doraemon franchise, which has been huge in Japan for decades. And Story of Seasons is due to release on the 4th of September. So, this is where I'm pretty excited. Because there's a bit of tum tum of Max. Yeah, that's hot. Oh, there's more tum tum. Look at that. Oh, it's off camera. You guys can't see it. Look, Story of Seasons. You know, everyone knows my absolute love for farming games. Now, Story of Seasons is the exact same, the original team from Harvest Moon and Harvest Moon Back to Nature, that sort of stuff. However, due to some licensing concerns and trademarks, they decided when they separated from Natsume, they wanted to take Harvest Moon with them, but they couldn't. So then they created Story of Seasons. That allows them to continue to make good farming games under a different name. So Harvest Moon games are still releasing, like recently with the Harvest Moon Light of Hope from Marvelous. However, it's not the same. So Story of Seasons did kind of fill that void. So I'm very excited to have this on the PlayStation because, you know, big fan of the farming games. I have no idea what Doraemon is or what a Doraemon could be, but they're pointing out that Max's little tummy fell out. But yeah, I don't know what a Doraemon is, but for me, it would be pretty much just down to, oh, cool, a Story of Seasons game. Because as of right now, like they're on 3DS. There may be one coming to the PS4, but right now it's pretty much it's pretty much better side tum there. Yeah, it's pretty much a Nintendo property right now, which is cool. Max put this one in there for me, so I can just gush about farming games. But you know, be very keen. Oh, Max nearly died. All right, I'm just going to move to another piece. There's another bit of piece that I can talk about without him. He put this one in here, but I'm just going to run through it because I don't fucking care. Apparently, Fortnite is still breaking records. The Battle Royale shooter keeps on going from strength to strength. The game has quickly become known as for its impressive live events in-game. And yesterday, as at time of writing, Epic Games put on the most extravagant show yet, setting a new record in the process. An incredible 12.3 million people saw rapper Travis Scott put on a concert inside Fortnite. No idea who that is. This statistic eclipses the 10.7 million viewers that Marshmallow had to pull in from his own across streaming platforms. Scott performed hits such as Sicko Mode and Heist in the Room, and the musicians seemed pretty chuffed with how the event was. So, Max, I talked about the Story of Seasons, which I knew you wouldn't have a lot to say about, and then we just jumped on about the Fortnite.
I spoke about Doraemon.
Yeah. You know what a Doraemon is?
No.
Okay, me either. We saw, like, although the camera was nicely cropped, we didn't see all your tum tum. It did peek in at the top right hand corner though. Hence,
that's all right.
Hence Zill's comments about having an erect penis because of it.
Oh. So did you see me flick the light on and it just like popped straight away? I'm like, oh no, I've instantly blown the globe.
I did see you come back, leave and come back. So there's multiple globe attempts.
Yeah, I grabbed the wrong light globe.
Well,
I needed a screw in and I grabbed a bayonet.
Well, this is different. So like this light's a lot more white than the previous one's a bit more yellow.
It's because I've taken the shade off.
There you go.
So this is just straight light now.
Cass did ask though, would it hurt for you just to open a window?
Yes, because like the sunlight doesn't come in and it would still be dark.
So let's touch upon the Fortnite news as well, which is just interesting because Fortnite still breaking records. I can't even imagine that 12 million people even still play it, but apparently they do.
I can't believe their service survived when 12.5 million people are all logged in at once.
I don't know. Like, yeah, Predator Hunting Grounds not even allowing 5, so it's interesting times.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, cool. Do you know who this Travis gentleman is?
I believe he's a rapper.
Okay. Cool.
That's about as he now has a skin in the game. You can be him.
Okay.
I'd be pretty happy. I'd be pretty happy with 12.3 million coming to see one of my shows.
That's true. Like we're right now, we got like we went from 7 to 6. So like we're doing noticeably worse than him. I'm like, I don't know who that guy is, but we are doing noticeably worse. So that's that. All right, Max, you can pick the next bit.
Well, let's go with that. The Ghost has Aussie approval. So this is from Stephen Talby at Push Square. So given that Sony has delayed The Last of Us Part 2 until further notice, and the company's PlayStation 5 plans have allegedly been upended by the current situation in the world, it's fair to expect more disruptions. The most prominent example in the land of PlayStation 4 is, of course, Ghost of Tsushima. The upcoming open world set during the Mongol invasions of Japan is looking very promising indeed, but given the state of the planet, it's thought that Sony will delay this game just as with Naughty Dog's latest. However, with no official word on the matter, there's no way we can really know for sure. Things have been quiet on Sucker Punch Studios' game for a little while now, and it would seem Sony is confident in the 26th June release date. The latest scrap of evidence of this is an age certification in Australia. The game has been classified MA15+, which appears to be the equivalent of a T in the USA or 16 in Europe. What does this tell us? Well, aside from confirming the game contains some language and strong violence, not really surprising, it suggests that the game is pretty much done. Age ratings don't usually show up until a couple of months prior to release, even where delays are factored in. For instance, The Last of Us 2 was coming out as intended on 29th of May. There should be an Australian rating listed for it, but there's not. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is another example. Initially scheduled for 2015, the game wasn't expected to launch before the end of March in 2016. Finally arriving in May of that year, the game wasn't rated in Australia until the 31st of March. Of course, the world's current situation is very unique set of circumstances, and it's possible Sony could still delay Ghost of Tsushima despite the Aussie rating. However, with historic info, it appears the game is on course.
Yeah, so this is interesting. Because like maybe it's one of those things of like things are apart from the US is fucked right now, but like the world itself is starting to get better-ish. Like we may not have seen the worst, but things are improving, especially here in Australia at least. So maybe they have a bit of high hopes here. Maybe May was, for The Last of Us at least, maybe May was too close. They're like, look, we know this is not going to get better in the next month, so what if June seems reasonable right now.
Yeah.
Like that's how I would see it. However, I have heard this week, I've heard this theory that, because you know how we discussed Last of Us and how I have a tinfoil hat theory that the game wasn't ready to go because they mentioned bug fixes, they mentioned they mentioned that it hadn't gone gold yet. Yeah, because the game was like 3 weeks away. We could be we should be playing it very soon, and it's not gone gold. So the theory that I heard was that Sony, similar to that of potentially Motorstorm, the one with all the falling buildings and whatever, that they have made the choice to hold back the game as its circumstances, as its themes semi-reflect the current world status. With a pandemic where people are fighting each other and a lot of issues like that. Do you think that there is any water to them holding it purely thematically?
I don't know. Like, I guess some people play games as a release from their everyday life, and our everyday life is currently pandemic mode, and people might not want to play that at the moment in their games. But I think a lot of people are just remembering the good times they had, especially for Last of Us Part 2. People are going to remember how the fun that they had playing Part 1, and they do want to know the conclusion to that story. I don't think that's going to, affect people too much. Personally, it wouldn't affect me. I would still play it, even in the current situation, but who knows? Yeah,
like I understand that because so that Motorstorm Apocalypse, I think it was, that was supposed to release in Japan. However, a bunch of the earthquakes happened over there at that time, so they chose not to release it, and they are still yet to release it. Apparently, they just never did it. So that's interesting. However, like Resident Evil, also a pandemic, released without any concern. However, that game was way more ready to go. Like they had, 2 weeks, whatever. So I do think part of that, I think there's some ground. I think there's, like, any good conspiracy, Max, has just that right amount of truth to potentially work. And I think, like, because there's precedence, I think it's very possible. Because I think it may be a higher up decision. Because, like, if you look at when you see over Twitter, like, Naughty Dog seem pretty bummed out that they can't release it. But maybe this was something like, because the coronavirus had been going on for a little while, and obviously Sony were very had a lot of pre-thought about it, consideration, pulling out of events and whatnot. So maybe this is a decision that was made prior to it escalating, hence why they were able to get as close to the release as possible before they announced it.
I just hope that it doesn't come back to kind of bite them in the ass a bit. Like, they've delayed this because of the climate, and if this game doesn't come out as a banger with no bugs, people will be like, we had all this extra time because it got delayed. What were you doing?
That is very, very true. However, this will greatly assist Ghost of Tsushima, I think, which is where we originally, the competition was started at. So I think, like, it's possible that the intention had always been to release Ghost of Tsushima first and The Last of Us Part 2 closer to the back end of the generation. Because that seems like more of a better way to send off the generation, right? But looks like they may have to be able to have their cake and eat it too here, with, because Ghost's coming out now in a pretty quiet space. Will get a lot of attention. It'll get presumably get a lot of love, and it's probably a smart move. And I think Sucker Punch may get a big advantage out of it.
Yeah, hopefully they do. Well, I mean, I'm personally super keen for this game.
Well, yes, I'm like, it's weird because I'm not not really a big fan of Japanese, like, in terms of the Japanese aesthetic, like the feudal Japan stuff. So there's not that there for me. Like, Neo didn't really do me from a thematical sense, because of, like, it's just
fair enough.
Gameplay was schmick, but it just doesn't do it for me. I'm not one of those anime Japan loving nerds. So
fair enough.
Yeah. Let's move it on. DualSense is, quote, one of the best in history. This comes from Liam Croft, Lara Croft's brother, from Push Square. If it isn't already obvious, Sony's PS5 DualSense controller has both the gaming and the development community very excited. With haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, the Japanese giant is taking a genuinely big step forward with the pad's feature set and design, rather than iterating upon what it has done in the past. The proof will be in the pudding when we get hands-on time with the controller, of course. That includes us as well. That's Push Square. I think a lot of our thoughts will come more once we get in our hands. But it's clear that the hardware manufacturer is doing something right. Speaking of which, to learn more of the developers, what the developers are thinking on the PS5 DualSense controller, Push Square reached out to Dying Light 2 developer Techland to see what it thought of the innovation. Lead game designer Timon Smektala told Push Square that he thinks the controller looks fantastic. Quote, "I absolutely love it. It's an amazing design, as futuristic as we should expect to see in 2020. The sci-fi times we already live in. As for the shape, we need to see how it will fit in the hands. But looking at it, I get very good vibes. I think it has a chance to be one of the best in history. Just big enough, but neat and funky at the same time." Smektala then went on to discuss just some of the features which set the PS5 DualSense controller apart. Quote, "I also think that the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers can be a real game changers. Way more than people would expect right now. I'm curious about the overall sturdiness of the thing. It looks so sleek, I wonder if it will survive accidental falls and rage quits. But all in all, even though I know the initial opinions are varied, for me, it's very obviously fantastic." Following the recent outpour of love for the next generation controller from those working on the PS5 games, including this gentleman from Techland, Push Square believe that it's clear that the features of its feature that it is packing won't be quickly abandoned. The likes of the adaptive triggers and haptic feedback seem to be here to stay, and Dying Light 2 may well take advantage of them. While the game no longer has a release window following its indefinite delay, Techland has confirmed that a PS5 version would be in the works. Now, Max, I'm pretty confident. Now, doesn't the Xbox One controller have haptic feedback in the adaptive triggers?
I think so.
Yeah, and that's rarely used or at all. On top of that, the entire rumble system within the Joy-Con is that haptic feedback, right?
Is used for one game.
It's used not at all. Like
it's used for one game.
Wait, 1-2 switch. Now, like playing, it's here and there, but it's nothing amazing. Like if you play Animal Crossing, like you can kind of guess what the fish is going to be based on the vibration of the Joy-Cons. However, it meant so much to them that they removed it for the light.
But that's because aren't the controllers smaller on the light?
Correct.
So they just couldn't fit it in. It probably also drains battery life like no tomorrow.
I imagine it does.
And yeah, since that's a primarily handheld only.
But even then, like Nintendo are pretty good at running on their gimmicks.
No, they're not. What do you want about?
Look,
the Joy-Cons will be dead on their next console, and we'll just have wasted $120 for each Joy-Con that we purchased.
Yeah, hence the sarcasm. But no, like, look, I'm very mixed about this. Like we've discussed about, we had a full chat about the DualSense a couple of weeks ago, but my stance hasn't changed. I'm still very in the firm belief that initially these will seem really cool and novel, but I don't see them having any sort of long-term effect or long-term implications. I think it'll just be a rumble with a greater scale. So you could 20% rumble seems very different to 80% rumble, where right now it just feels like fucking 100% all the time.
Yeah, I think it'll purely rest on the developers whether or not they want to add, because I would imagine it's extra work programming the adaptive triggers to whatever they're going to use them for. It'll just depend on what the extra workload is to get those working for what they for the reward that they want to give out of their game.
And on top of that, like, it's cool that Push Square reached out to this one person. Like, that's hardly enough to claim it to be the best in the world. And on top of that, like, we've heard that Supermassive Games have some things to say about it, which is cool, but even then, it's like, okay, that is not the most reliable set of sources.
Yeah.
What's next, Max?
Did you talk about the Vita?
I did not.
Well, let's talk Vita for a little while. Apparently, it's still alive. Yeah. Sammy Barker. This article comes from Sammy Barker, Push Square. So, did you know, Ryan,
yes,
that the PS Vita still receives new games on an almost weekly basis?
Oh, yeah. They're always like small little poopy ones.
Oh, yeah. So, Sony may have pulled the plug on the platform years ago, but smaller developers are continuing to support it in 2020. An impressive feat for a format which apparently limped at around 16 million units sold. Or limped to around 16 million units sold. Many of the new titles are cross-buy with PlayStation 4, but it's neat that there's still a reason for you to power the portable up. Among the latest releases includes Rush Rover, a thoroughly likable dual joystick shooter that does little new but will keep you entertained. Then you've got Side-Scroller Random Heroes, a simplistic platformer with plenty of protagonists. War Room is an interactive art experience that will cost you less than a packet of chips, apparently.
Hey!
None of these titles are going to set the world alight, however, but if you're invested in a PS Vita and still enjoy playing it, then it's neat to know that the indie development community is continuing to support the Vita. Sony's largely abandoned the handheld PlayStation Store these days, but with most titles not even appearing in the new release sections, but you can filter out fresh handheld titles on the web-based storefront So if you still love your Vita, there is still stuff to do on it.
I
guess.
barely use it anymore. Like, hence why it has a permanent spot on the shelf behind me. The last thing I played on it was, it would have been Papers, Please. I did play a lot of Stardew Valley on it because I really, it was the best. But then once I got it on the Switch, I was like,
bigger screen.
Yeah. Yeah, man, the Vita was great, and I really enjoyed the time I had with it, but it's just not there. Zill in the chat goes, there's still a huge Vita section at the BIC camera in Japan. Well, yeah, because like for them, it's the handheld is a more demand market because of all their subway travel and public transport and whatnot. So there is it's always been bigger there. Period. But yeah. Cool. Like, it's good news. It's totally good news for those that was. But without those massive games coming to the Vita, it's even less likely that anyone would care.
Yeah.
What about you, Max? Did you even own a Vita?
I owned a Vita once upon a time. I owned it once. Not anymore.
No, it's long gone.
Yeah.
If we're gonna look back at.
I rehomed it. I think I bought it originally to play 2 games, and that was it.
What were the games?
The Persona games.
Door. All right, if we're going to reminisce about something, let's reminisce correctly. It's Kratos' birthday on PS4. 2 years ago this week, God of War launched and quickly became one of the PlayStation 4's the best PlayStation 4 game to be released. It is held in just as high regard to this day, even topping Push Square's list of best PS4 exclusive games, and also being this guy's favorite game of all time. We won't be forgetting about Kratos and Atreus' rebooted journey for a very, very long time. And it's clear that the team at Sony Santa Monica won't either. In fact, the developer has put together a small celebration to mark the occasion, including new merchandise. So detailed on the PS blog, Sony is teaming up with the Dark Horse to bring Atreus' journal to life. It called the Chronicles, it says, quote, it chronicles the journey of Atreus and Kratos through the 9 realms. It includes expanded lore, detailed bestiary, character dossiers, and so much more. So I imagine it's very similar to like the Skyrim library books that you could get for a little while there. I may have pre-ordered. Woo. I lost my spot because I got all super excited about the book.
So our price
hasn't been announced yet, but you'll be able to pre-order the book through a link and like Amazon. So it's about $63 on Amazon right now if you put the pre-order down. Alongside this is something rather special. Gaming Heads has designed and manufactured a life-size bust of Kratos, beard and all. It's a huge 25 inches tall, bringing together game files and intricate paint strokes to make one of this creation look as lifelike as possible. There are only 500 of them available. So go get it. Apparently it's about $799 US, I presume.
US.
I want it. My wife said no. Jeff Catcham, producer at Sony Santa Monica, signs off the blog post by saying, quote, thank you again for being the best fans ever. You continue to be the heart of everything we do here at Santa Monica. Until next time, stay tuned and remember to enjoy the journey. On top of that, we should also mention that Numbskull Games announced as part of their latest wave of tubs, which are those little cosplaying ducks that my son loves. They announced Kratos and Atreus, and oh my god, am I buying the absolute fuck out of them. So it is very common knowledge for anyone that does watch this show how much I love that game. I believe it is the best game that I've ever played. It is my favorite game of all time. It's what I modeled my custom PS4 over. I have a custom controller behind me. I have 3 separate Kratos figures on this shelf alone. Collector's edition. I bought the novelization. I have the comic run. I fucking love this game. There has been no experience like it for me personally. And I've got some fucking downtime, I might just play it again.
The game was alright.
So much. Fuck off. No.
That was great.
The game is absolutely fantastic, and I can't believe it's been 2 years. Like, Yeah, because we should also mention today is episode 150, and we did fucking nothing for it. But there you go, episode 150. Because it was like right on essentially 1 year of doing For the Players. Josh and I got to talk about God of War, which was awesome. But yeah, there you go, 150. Woo.
Woo.
But no, I love that. I love that game absolutely. Cass agrees it's one of the top three of his favorite games. And Zil goes, the storyline is set up pretty well for the future games, which 100% it does. And as I've discussed, many times in the past, the big thing for me was the whole father-son storyline. As a father myself to a son, it touches upon some incredible some things about being a father. And just some of the concerns that you have, and the just different ways of approaching it that hit home to me very much so.
I had this with I'm at a loss for what it was. Our game of the year last year,
Death Stranding.
I had that feeling with Death Stranding as I was playing that just around the time that my child was born.
Yeah.
And that hit me in the feels pretty hard many times.
Because so my son's 3, so he would have been 1 and a bit, not even. Wait, hang on, he's turned 4 this year, so he would have been 1 and a bit.
But we've got Cass in the chat. Do you ever go boy to your?
I did it just the other day. Like I do it all the time. So as I mentioned last week,
are you waiting for him to turn 12 and just turn into a gigantic dick for a while?
I can only hope. As I was saying, as I've said before, my wife's a big Stargate fan. She's been rewatching it recently, and Christopher Judge, who is Kratos in this one, he's a main character in Stargate. So whenever I walk into the bedroom and I hear it, I'm like, huh? Every time, and like Millie gets mad at me because she's like, no, he was Tilk first. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about Tilk. He's Kratos now. So that voice has such a everything about that game is so fucking fantastic. I love it so much. So much. Can't believe it's 2.
Now, do you wanna go for the quick bits and cover the last 3 stories after?
I agree. Let's get these quick bits done, Max, then we'll get into the main topic of the show.
All right, so some quick bits for us. Golf with Friends launching on PS4 next month. Dreams Update 2.1 is out now with some bug fixes. Tekken 7 teases a new character on their website. Battlefield 5 has wrapped up their post-launch support as of this summer. And in a strange Fallout 76 bug, the new NPCs can loot dead bodies and steal your items forever.
How fucking awesome is this news?
So do not die near the NPCs because they will jack you.
If Fallout 76 couldn't be like any more of an interesting experience just to watch it crumble under its own shit. Like, they're like, hey, it's got NPCs in it.
Steal your stuff more.
Dude, if you're ever interested, watch SkillUp's review of it. Like, he just demonstrates how this game was not built for NPCs. Period.
Yeah.
Like, you can literally steal from their pockets as you look at them. Like, the game is just the way this has been built is not for NPCs. And it's really been thrown together. Fantastic. But anyway, Max, let's get in. That's enough about the news. Let's get into the section we call Chat to the Players, where we tell you, where we break down, we focus on one specific topic. This week, we are talking Horizon Zero Dawn 2, or Horizon 2, whatever they decide to call it, as a bunch of rumors and information came out this week. So, Max, you want to kick us off?
So, in a now deleted tweet, Horizon Zero Dawn developers Guerrilla Games listed a job posting for a senior AI programmer that included the hashtag PS5. It's kicked off speculation that the team could be working on an exclusive PlayStation 5 sequel for the much-loved post-apocalyptic RPG. The tweet only appeared briefly in its original form and has since been replaced by a newer tweet that lacks the PS5 hashtag. The tweet in question, quote, "We're looking for a senior AI programmer who can make a difference in the design and implementation of the systems that make our NPCs come to life. Hashtag Gorilla, hashtag AI, hashtag PlayStation, hashtag PS5. The PS5 has now been removed in a later post. So, obviously,
that's subtlety.
Yeah, it's hard to say, because you would think that being obviously one of their big exclusives, that they would want it on current gen and next gen.
I disagree.
I
think they would want.
You reckon that they could push their sales with this?
I think so. I think they
close enough to the
with the success of Horizon Zero Dawn and the critical and public reception of it, it would be within their best interest to put it on the next gen, because it would as the alleged rumor right now is that it will be a launch title. So launching with this would be tremendous. This is kind of on the same level of Xbox going, hey, there's a Halo game at launch here. You know what I mean? Like, this is a big first party exclusive that is here, ready to go.
So we know Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is coming. Guerrilla Games' open world action RPG resonated instantly with PlayStation fans, and Aloy has become one of PS4's most iconic characters. After such a success, it would be foolish to think that
so my son just broke in after a shower.
Studio would turn its attention elsewhere. According to a new report from VGC, it seems Guerrilla got to work on a follow-up pretty quickly. Multiple sources have told the site that the developer began work on Horizon 2, quote, soon after the first game's successful release. Furthermore, these same sources claim the sequel was planned for a release on PlayStation 4. However, development has apparently, quote, entirely shifted focus to PS5. This doesn't come as too much of a surprise, but it's interesting to hear Guerrilla was aiming for Horizon 2 to hit PlayStation 4 before the next-gen machine came along. While this information isn't totally concrete, it sounds very believable. We're glad to see the sequel will make its debut on the PlayStation 5, and it will certainly make a much bigger impression when we do eventually see it. Other alleged information concerning Horizon 2 has come to light. According to the same report, the game is gigantic in scope and could include co-op. Ooh.
But this makes 100% sense. Like, if I was them, I'd be like, you're making PS5. Like, if it is as easily transferable as they're claiming it to be, then why not, right? It's just, and if they want bigger, granted, Horizon Zero Dawn, one of the prettiest games on PS4, unquestionably. Like, so it would make sense for them to then want to push into that next thing, right? Adding to the job listing though, like, there is no way that would be coming to PS4 if they're still looking for staff right now, right? It is a weird line.
It is.
Like, on top of that now, it's kind of made me think that maybe it won't be released day. It's probably release window. Or the first 3 months.
Well, when was Horizon out? Was that a February drop?
That was February. No, it was March. It was the same day as Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
So like March 13th.
Yeah.
2018. 18?
So was it 2 years ago? Did it come out? No, it came out before God of War, didn't it?
Yep. Oh yeah, so 3 years ago, 2017.
Yeah. So Horizon Zero Dawn was purely single-player adventure on PlayStation 4, but it looks like the developer Guerrilla Games has big plans for its next-gen sequel. According to Video Games Chronicle, a reliable source, the PlayStation 5 follow-up will include online co-op so that Aloy is no longer doing it all on her own. The website states that both the studio and Sony have always been keen to implement the functionality into the series, with the original game supposedly supporting the feature before it was scrapped so that the team could focus on other areas. In Horizon Zero Dawn 2, online co-op will be available, but it's not yet clear if this will form part of the base experience or if it will be delivered via a separate mode. Video Game Chronicle goes on to claim that Guerrilla once intended to release a standalone preview of the co-op feature, with progress carried over into the full game on PS5. However, it is no longer clear if those plans will be carried out.
Now, this is 100% possible because there was announced, I think maybe in Dark Horse, making a Horizon comic to tie in with presumably with the game, or help fill the void between the game, and that does have a different main protagonist, and they're on the hunt for Aloy. So it's certainly possible that there would be two leads. I imagine if it's co-op, you and I will be playing it co-op. But do you think this is something that Horizon needs?
I don't know if it's needed, but it won't, as long as they don't focus too hard on it and they lose some of their focus to implement it in, I think it would be a fantastic addition.
I agree.
I think that world was so fun to explore as a solo player. It would be so much fun to explore as a co-op team.
Well,
taking down those big mechs with two people would just be rad.
Yeah, like tackling a thunder jaw with two people, like one person attacking, one person setting traps, like, and luring it to, like, that would be if you want to talk about evolution of what Horizon Zero Dawn set up, that would be the next step. The next step would be bringing somebody else in, another character in, and we always can't rely on like AI of computers to do good planning, so why not play it with someone?
Yeah.
I'm totally
definitely
in.
It'll
still
definitely
goes
add
like
an
Monster
extra.
Hunter style.
Yeah, it'll definitely add in. It'll change the way you play the game because you'll be more. You can be more methodical about taking the enemies down. You can kind of think before you just blindly go in.
I'm interested. I'm certainly open to the idea. Look, I'm in it anyway. Like I've really enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm getting a PS5 as launch as possible. That's my plan.
You know
what I mean? So like, I am the demographic for people that want to check it out. So yeah, I'm not even mad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Is there anything else to come out from Horizon?
No, I think that was all about Horizon. So it's just that. Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you finding all these rumors and stuff about Horizon? How is it shaping for you?
With the news that they originally wanted to get it out on PS4, and now they've kind of shifted their focus to PS5. Hopefully, that means they've been able to put in a little bit extra love and care into their game. A little bit of development, a little bit extra development time never hurts. Horizon Zero Dawn 1 was incredible. The world was fantastic. The story was great. I can't wait to see more of it. The rumors of it possibly adding co-op, again, right up my alley. I love co-op games. It adds to the experience, in my opinion. Like I said, as long as they don't take away anything to add this addition in, I think it'll work great.
Yeah. I agree with you pretty much on all those points, I think. Yeah. But let us know what you think of these Horizon Zero Dawn 2, Horizon Second Dawn, Horizon First Dawn. I don't fucking know what they're going to call it. In those comments below, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, all those places, come chat to us about Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, Max, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is so far away. At least back end of the year, if not this time next year. So let's have a chat about what games that are coming out this week in a section we call Coming to the Players.
So, coming to the players, we have the drop for the PlayStation games for April 28, 2020. Again, this comes from the US PlayStation blog, so some dates will be different here for us Australians. Some games won't release at all. We have Active Neurons, PS4, PS Vita, digital, out April 29th. Arcade Spirits, PS4 digital and retail, out May 1st.
The artwork looks like Daddy Dating Simulator.
I know, right? Book of Demons, PS4 digital, out April 30. Daymare 1998, PS4 digital.
Fighter of the Nightmare.
Down the Rabbit Hole, PSVR digital, out May 1st. Dread Nautical, PS4 digital, out April 29th.
They really put a lot of thought into the artwork of Daymare. You've got like Idris Elba and BJ Blazkowicz on the front. They didn't even try.
Gun Crazy, PS4 digital. The Inner Friend, PS4 digital. Jigsaw Abundance, PS4 digital. What a great game to come out currently when everyone's quarantined at home. Just do a bunch of
Jigsaws are essential, by the way.
Moving Out, PS4 digital and
read that bad boy.
retail. Moving Out is a ridiculous physics-based moving simulator that brings new meaning to couch co-op. Take on moving jobs across the town of Packmore, enjoy the story mode solo or as a team of 4 friends, move through sleepy suburbs, frenzied farms, haunted houses, and lands beyond to grow your company's reputation.
So, Moving Out, made by Australia's SMG. I'm personally a big fan of the studio, and I have played this, not the final build. I did go and do a test and a sort of preview, pre-release run with Paul from Player 2. We went over there to their studio here in Melbourne and had a look at it. Game looks awesome fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen.
Disappointing that it is only couch co-op, however. The reviews are out in the wild now. It's reviewing fine, but the difficulty, with it being local multiplayer only, it would really have really had a good time now if it was online.
Yeah. We have Sakura Wars, PS4 digital and retail. SnowRunner, PS4 digital retail. Streets of Rage 4, PS4 digital, out April 30th.
Ooh.
And that is it for this upcoming week.
Oh, there's Telling Lies, whatever the hell that is.
Apparently it's not on the drop.
Oh, I'm looking at the drop right now.
Oh, yeah, sorry. And Telling Lies. Yeah, why did I think that was an advertisement? Telling Lies, PS4
Because it
digital.
looks like an advertisement.
Because it's isn't it an FMV thriller game?
Yeah, probably.
I believe.
Oh, and the Reverend Park comes in and does let us know. Well, the Video Games Chronicle did also mention that Guerrilla is planning a Horizon Zero Dawn trilogy. That only makes sense. Yeah, like have
Dawn and New Dawn.
Just make all of them. Yeah, give me 3.
Make all of them.
Horizon Third Dawn. I don't care shit. Give me all of them. Hell yeah, sold. Done. I'm already like I said. I'm already sold. There's 3 more. I'm in. Make it happen. Make it so.
Fair enough. Make it so. Well, Ryan,
Yes.
this PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to join in future PlayStation conversations, please head on over to our Facebook, Discord, Instagram. All our social links are in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturists where you can watch us record this show live, just like Puck did, just like Zill, just like Cass, Dash, Buddy. Bunch of good people came and had a chat. You can watch Max change his light globe live and in person.
You've had a rough week streaming with your co-host, haven't you?
Oh my god! So Jem's entire suburb lost power on Thursday, so we didn't do that show. That was awesome. Yeah, it's tough times in these quarantines. But yeah, so come watch us on Twitch, join in the chat just like Puck did, and provide add to the whole conversation. It's good. And we love having you here. If one thing we'd like you to do, if you'd be so kind, would be share the conversation. Tell your friends, tell your family about this little PlayStation pod. Go to your podcast service of choice, give it a rating, share it around, put it on your socials. Whatever you do, we would greatly appreciate the getting it out there and people checking us out. Like look, we would still do it if no one was listening, but it's great to have people that listen. And we understand it is tough times right now, but if you do want to support us financially, you can by heading on to patreon.com/thepopculturists, which we should mention funded the Control Season Path. So Max and I will be talking about Control the Foundation DLC next week. Get excited for that. And you can also go to our merchandise store where you can buy at popcultures.com/shop, where you can buy shirts, masks, and other assorted shit with our logos on it. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was For the Players. For the Players, the PopCulturists PlayStation podcast is fan-supported at patreon.com/thepopculturists. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damien Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.